Well, hello again to each and every one of you wonderful people to the 87th edition of the weekly series of Weird Mind Newsroom, where this week we have a selection of some of the biggest new releases of the week, a fair few trailers, and a story or two to talk about from the news section. So let's not waste too much time on these introductions, let's talk about what we got from this week in all forms of media.
On all levels except physical, I am a wolf.
We start the first of the new releases of the first of the biographical films we'll see this year, and it focuses on the career of a musician that has been around for more than 50 years and has helped change the music industry in many ways, as we have the newest Bob Dylan biographical film of a complete unknown. The film focuses on the early days and rising career of the musician of Bob Dylan, and focuses as well on the controversial decision around his method of switching to electrically amplified instrumentation in the folk music scene that will change for the better in the future. The reception to this film has been very decently received, with great praise performances of the film, especially to Chalamet as Bob Dylan, though some see it as being one that may not help better understand the musician if you don't know too much about him already, as a bit of your usual affair of the biographical films. But if you're up to learn the life of some iconic names in music, then you can catch the new film out now in cinemas. The second film of the week, and the second film focusing on iconic monster from this year, it's time to see the return of a creature of the night, a monster of great power, and in the full form of the light of the full moon, as the director of the surprisingly well-made Invisible Man is back again with his new film take on the Wolfman. The film will follow Blake, a family man who seeks to protect himself and his family from a dangerous werewolf at night during a full moon that may be more difficult than first expected, as he feels he may not be fully in control of himself. Reception on this film has been hit with a more mixed reception, with praise the performances of the main lead and some use of the cinematography and transformations and practical effects, though some of the story beats and appeal of the Wolfman design may not work with everyone. But if you want to stay safe and out of sight from the high moon, then you can check this film out now in cinemas too. Our last film of the week is seeing some semblance of espionage and the return of an actress that has been retired for a bit of time for one more job, as we have received the newest spy comedy film of Back in Action. The film follows Emily and Matt, two former CIA agents who get out of the business to fall in love and start a family, but will soon have them pulled back into the job when their identities have been exposed, must resolve the issues before any more dire situations could occur. Reception to this film has been hit with a more mixed, underwhelming reception, that while the star power of the leads of Jamie Foxx and the return of Cameron Diaz help bring some appeal, the film faces criticism over its lack of a funny script and feeling like it is a lot of the other films we have seen before in general. But if you want to check it out for yourself, then you can do so now, as it's available to watch on Netflix. Staying with the streamer for the first of the new shows of the week is taking us to the first on the adaptations of video games, as we'll be seeing the night to grow longer, the dark traveling father, and the blood beginning to flow, as the battle of the forces of good and evil have returned to do battle over their long-sought rivalry. As after a bit of a gap in time, it's time to return to the anime spin-off of Castlevania, the second season of Nocturne. This new season will follow on from the first narrative as we follow Richter Belmont and the rest of the vampire hunters be joined by Alucard as they race to stop Elizabeth Bathory's dark and terrible plans of taking over the world by any see fit. Reception to this new season has also been very well received, with praise to its visuals, its fights and performances, though some see that the series is starting to show its age and some elements of its story are seen as a little flat or could have been much more potential. But if you're up for more vampire hunting action, you can catch this new season out now on Netflix. The second of the shows for the week is Return to Working Order, and a long-awaited follow-up to a series that came along and provided something appealing and fresh with a bit of twisty aesthetic to it all, as Adam Scott's Mark Scout is about to check in as an innie once again, as we have the release of the second season to Severance. The story will follow on from the first of the workers of the fictional corporation of Lumen, and the workers have themselves involved in a severance program that separates their memories of their personal lives and work lives once activated. I will see the characters learn to break free from this control and learn a deep conspiracy and take it down from the inside. Reception to this new season premiere, like the last, has been very well highly praised for its concept, its themes, its topics, and its twisty method of storytelling that will keep the audience engaged with the acclaimed cast in the show too. And if you're up to learn the truth, then you can catch a new season premiere now on Apple TV Plus, with a new episode releasing every Thursday. And our last release for the week is getting down to business. Monkey business in that regards, as everyone's favorite tie-wearing ape and his little monkey pal are back in a classic adventure in an upscaled new format, as we have the all-new HD port of Donkey Kong Country Returns. This new port will follow the plot of the original game, as DK and Diddy Kong travel across Donkey Kong Island to defeat the Tiki Tak tribe, who's had mind control the animals of the island to steal the massive banana horde from the ape himself, and they will bam, slam, and conga jam time to get them back. Reception for this new port, like the previous two, has been well received, with praise of its gameplay, its story, and its visuals getting praised. Though some of the HD upgrades feel lacking compared to the other two, and many felt it needed more content over the last two ports in order to justify its price tag. But if you're up for a new monkey adventure, then you can play it now on the Nintendo Switch. And with all of that, that's all the new releases that we have for this week.
Rude Cabin does what Rude Cabin does.
Our first trailer for the week is one that has been anticipated to see get released for a bit of time, as with the rise of power and fear growing across the city, it's up to one man from Hell's Kitchen to put on the mask and stop this corruption before it all falls apart, as the man without fear is back again, as we finally receive the trailer for the upcoming new season and series of Daredevil Born Again. The series will see the return of blind lawyer Matt Murdock, fighting for justice and going against the powerfully dangerous Wilson Fisk, who's pursuing a campaign to become mayor of New York, which will soon cause their past identities to collide, and Daredevil must stop his plans before more serious problems could arise. Now, it's a known fact, and given that the original 3-season series that starred on Netflix was a really great show that felt more like a gripping violent thriller than the normal superhero fare at the time. And what I can get from this trailer is that it's going for a bit of a continuation of that series and last year's Echo, but also the case that it's keeping that more mature violent rating for the series as well, and it looks like it will be really great, hopefully so. And now we don't have to wait too long for the series as well, as it begins on Disney Plus in just about a month and a half's time from March 4th. Our second trailer of the week is one I talked about last week in our news section that involved an adaptation of an upcoming PlayStation title that had elements of sounding a lot more different than its actual plot of the game being adapted. And from the trailer, I can see that there's a bit of a difference in that aspect, as it comes down to the choices these characters make that will decide who lives and who dies, as we receive the first trailer for the upcoming adaptation of Until Dawn. The film follows Clover and a group of her friends who head off to a remote valley in search of her sister who had disappeared there over a year ago. They are soon trapped in this location of a small cabin where they are horrifically murdered, only to find themselves back alive at the beginning of the same evening where it all began. Trapped in the valley, they are forced to relive the nightmares over and over again, with a different threat each time and more terrifying than the last. Must try and survive until dawn to escape the horrors. So it's a case that I was worried on this, as I felt the original is so beloved to many in that community that took the time to play it, despite a fair few flaws, and it's a case with this one where I wondered, how does this really connect to the original title game, as it nearly feels more akin to the Dark Pictures games from the same studio, Supermassive Games. But after watching the trailer once or twice, I can see the case of some elements where it has the ideals of the game themes of life and death. It used some tropes of classic horror films, with this one being something new with each night, and a fair bit of this has grown on me a little that I'm interested in seeing how this will play out, and hopefully it will turn out a lot better than I first thought it would be. Now, I guess we'll see how this all comes about when the film releases in about 2 or 3 months time on April 25th. The next trailer is the only animated one for this week, and one from a favorite studio of mine, as we're hitting the field and ready to play ball in more ways than one, as it's time to prep for the big game, as we have the trailer for the new first original series from Pixar with Win or Lose. The series will follow a co-ed middle school softball team known as the Pickles in the week leading up to their big championship game, with every episode focusing on the same events but following on one different member of the team and on their perspective as the game approaches for the perspective of the players, their parents, and even the umpire, leading all the way up to the big state championships. So what I've gotten from the footage gives me unique ideas that they will tackle some different worries and fears to build more courage and appeal to the overall narrative, and while there's some comedy that feels a little awkward, maybe just some of the editing aspects, I think it looks like it'll be a little fun little story and have all some form of unique animation forms and styles that tells the character stories that help set them apart. Sure, the likes of the worry of one of them having been majorly overhauled, as there was going to be a much deeper story for one about gender identity, would have been nice to see how that would have played out, but I hope it will turn out well enough and to be entertaining, and we do not have to wait too long for this as well, as the series will be releasing in just about a month's time on Disney Plus from February 19th. And the last of the trailers for this week is about to get much more darker, insane, a lot more bloody, as Longlegs director Osgood Perkins and producer James Wan are returning for more horror with a story from the master of horror stories himself, with Stephen King, has received a new trailer for the upcoming film adaptation of The Monkey. The film follows twin brothers Hal and Bill, who discover a vintage toy monkey that belonged to their father in the attic, who soon witness a string of horrific deaths happen around when it is unleashed. In order to rid of the haunting, they they discard the monkey and soon pursue different paths over time. But soon when the inexplicable deaths resurface, the two are compelled to reconcile and embark on a mission to permanently eliminate the cursed toy. Now, knowing my knowledge with the adaptations for Stephen King's short stories compared to his more longer novels, it will vary in the appeal and how it comes about, and it could be a hit or miss and depending on the story and those involved in production. But going off how well Osgood did with Longlegs last year and crafting well-formatted stories in that genre, I feel it may have an appeal of working out well with this one and could be something really messed up, insane, and truly fucked up in the process, and maybe worth a watch. And it's not too long as well for this, as the film will be releasing into cinemas in about a month's time from February 21st. And with all of that, that's all the trailers that we have for this week too.
Listen up, girl, I know you a Nintendo fan.
So we start off the news stories for the week with the big one, and this is with the focus of some news in tech and video games. Now, if you've been following this series for a bit of time, then you have known that one of the pieces of tech that has been discussing for the better half of like a year and a half at this point was the discussion of the next new console from Nintendo and the successor to their money maker of the Nintendo Switch. Well, after countless leaks, rumors, discussions, images, and many more things that you may find on every party internet at this point to make it the most leaked console on the internet, Nintendo finally unveiled on Thursday their new console in the form of the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not much to complain on that regards. If it worked well in the first one, make it a sequel. Now, not as much was overly shown with this new console, but we have a few things we can get from the 2.5-minute trailer that was unveiled. Firstly, the big thing we can see is the console is going to be a lot bigger in both of its tablet form and Joy-Cons, which has been rumored for the moment being about 30% bigger than the original and OLED versions. There's some new features including a much larger kickstand, buttons and sensors on the Joy-Cons and tablet, an extra port for USB-C for either charging while in tabletop mode or for some other eventual new peripherals, and a new method of connecting to the Joy-Cons by a magnet type form instead of sliding them down both sides.
Fucking magnets, how do they work?
There's also a possible mouse form, which the Joy-Cons, but that jury's still out on that answer with that regards. Besides that, the only other things we got from the trailer was the first look at the first title for the console, which is an all-new Mario Kart, which is the first for a console title in 11 years since Mario Kart 8, with plenty of speculation on number of racers per race, and new designs and a possible speculation of its new gimmick, as every game has had that. The last confirmation was the console's coming out this year in 2025, it's backwards compatible with the Switch 1 titles, and the case instance as well that we'll be getting a new direct focusing on the console on April 2nd. Initially I thought it was February 4th, but it was in the US date system kind of thing. Now for one, I'm excited to get one for myself. Now, the likes of my own speculations for this regards, I have myself, I feel it would be around 350 to 400 euros. Will come in some form of like 3 different colors at launch. The one shown, which is like black with a blue and orangey red kind of type Joy-Cons, one in white, and one with like a special skin connected to a launch game. Prime 4 will probably be a launch title with other big hitters to launch with it, and the case it will improve the battery life, have a stronger power to the previous PlayStation or Xbox consoles, and will have fixed the stick drift issues of the first console as well. But they're really all my speculations for the moment. All I know is once this direct drops, I'm going to give some updates about it down the line, as well as the case instance I'm definitely pre-ordering once they go live, because I want to get my hands on one of these in particular. But with all of that, I'd like to know your thoughts on this announcement. Are you excited or disappointed in the Switch 2 announcement, and what is your own speculation about this console? And when do you see it come out? My also guess I'm going to say about summer or early fall. That's my guess in this regard. But let me know what you think down below in the discussions, and we can talk about them there. And for our second and final story for the week, we are delving into some more rumored discussions and possible announcements that will relate to a few projects that may be in the works or had a big announcement made and presumed release date for said projects as well, that I have a few thoughts on in this regards. So let's delve into what they are and let's give my thoughts on them as well. So the first of the rumor reports is coming to us from the studio of Warner Bros., the company that tries to tell us they are the only original storyteller left in the industry, though seem to follow in the direction like a lot of other studios out there with reviving series and franchises, as this week they have just added another 2 to that mix, as there's been reports that they are making a new films, either as a sequel or a reboot to both Gremlins and the Goonies, and that Chris Columbus will be involved with both projects once again. Now, this isn't the first time that both of these concepts projects were mentioned before, as Columbus has stated he had a script made for a third Gremlins back in 2017, and in case initially I was going to discuss a rumored sequel to the Goonies a couple of weeks ago that was supposedly in the works that I left out of the blog as it was debunked just by the original film actors at the time before I started writing it. Now, this is where I have my concerns and questions about these projects, as sure I can see the likes of the Gremlins making a return and working in some regards, as many horror icons have made a return in recent years in sort of formats like Leatherface, Ghostface, Michael Myers, Chucky, Pinhead, Pennywise, and a few other movie monsters and creatures that it could work to see how this could morph itself into the modern day aesthetic. The likes of the Goonies one though feels a little weird in terms of its idea of making a follow-up to all of its 40 years after the original in the mid-80s, that I would not be sure if the cast will be back to go another treasure hunt or if it's like their kids are the ones that do so it's hard to see the likes of a sequel. The reboot maybe could benefit more, but I'm not sure in that regard how it would appeal in this day and age when the original is more of a timeless classic. Now I'm sure we will get more info about these two films right now, as I'm a little skeptic for the moment, but I do hope these things will kind of work out, but we'll see down the line if things come along, but I'll update if we do. And for our other piece of news in relation to film is taking us over to Netflix once again. For this one, we have received a little update on their big planned adaptation of the Narnia series being made by Greta Gerwig. Now, we have known for this project for a bit of time, since about 2023, after the recent release of her smash hit success of Barbie. It has been a case that has been very quiet on that end, with most info we got was a rumored casting of Saoirse Ronan in the film, which I'm not sure has been confirmed. However, it has now gotten a new update about the planned release window, and for the first for a Netflix project in particular, as it was announced just on Thursday evening that Netflix is planning to release the film into IMAX first before releasing the film a month later onto Netflix, with the confirmed project for this being Thanksgiving 2026 and a Netflix release for presumably Christmas Day. Now this is first for Netflix, as they have not released their films into IMAX in general, and most they would do with films for cinema would give most a week or two, a month out from its stream release, but in very little amount of showings. An example of this was the second Knives Out film, and many are demanding for Wake Up Dead Man to have a similar situation of getting a month or two release, as am I. So hopefully it is the case that this will show Netflix that some of their projects from big name directors could benefit them in releasing them into cinemas first and then appeal for streaming a little later. And hopefully this is not just exclusive to US as well or anything, as I would be interested in seeing her take on the stories of the franchise. But I guess we'll see how this all comes together and hear about who's involved with the casting and all their stuff in due time, but I'm looking forward to a new take on this beloved series in regards. But what do you think of these announcements? Would you be interested in a new Gremlins and Goonies movie, and would you watch this new Narnia adaptation of the big Narnia Netflix originals in cinemas if given the chance? Let me know what you think of them down below, and with all of that, that's all the news stories that we have for this week. And with all of that, this brings us to the end of the 87th edition of Weird My Newsroom, and I hope you enjoyed my slightly shorter ramblings of discussions for this week. So let's delve into some contents of some updates for the channel. Right, we'll start off with reviews in regards. I haven't really delved in too much yet into the reviews as of yet, what I'm going to do next. I'm kind of trying to see, like, is there anything from the last, like, few weeks that came out that I kind of want to do my thoughts on. Like, I might do Sonic, I might do maybe Craven as a short. There's just a few I kind of want to do in mind. Like, I'm trying to think, like, is there anything that might appeal to me in regards? Like, now in the case with Last of Us, I want to do a series retrospective, like just to focus on the first season before that comes out in April. I might do Velma season 2, just force myself to watch it. Maybe if the video does well or something, I don't know, just because like that show is now over, so I don't have to if I get that done, I don't have to deal with it anymore. And there's a few other ones I probably will work on in some regards as well. Like there's a few I still need to go to Nosferatu. There's a few I need to kind of catch up on, so hopefully I'll have them out soon enough. I just kind of want to decide between if I want to do long form or short form, depending on what the films are, so bear with me in that regards. There will be stuff coming, I just need to kind of like give a focus to reviews once I'm done with this other one I'm writing currently right now. Then a case of some gameplays. So I just dropped the first of the 2 parts I have for Left Behind on my channel there about a day or 2 ago, so you can check that out below. Mario and Cyberpunk will be coming as well, and other games on the series on like PlayStation and Xbox and everything like that will be coming as well. I'm gonna try and work and see if I can record while playing on my PlayStation Portal. I got one a couple days ago, and just see if I can function it for the PlayStation. I'll see in regards, I'll figure something out, but more gameplays will be coming, so I'm just gonna find the time to do so as well, so bear with me in that regards. And lastly, the case on some long form stuff. So the one I've been focusing on the last couple of days has just been anticipated media. I'm gonna calculate there's been 150 pieces of media that I have to discuss about, but I'll get to that in regard. Hopefully I'll have that out by the end of the month, maybe the start of February, we'll see in that regards, but I'm gonna fly through all of it. I'm not going to be as long, hopefully, as last year's one. We split in 2 parts, but we'll see. Then in case the AI one is going to get worked on as well, Rewatchathon is going to get worked on, and other long form stuff will come along, so you can see them come along as well. Harmless Boar will also be there as well eventually, so bear with me. I know I keep saying they're coming, it's just a case I just have to find the energy and the motivation, because sometimes it's difficult to focus and other stuff, so bear with me with that. But with that, I think I shall end the episode there. So if you like my content, like to see more from me more frequently, then simply like and subscribe, as I upload new stuff every single week. And I'm planning for a case maybe for the end of this year for about 150 to 200 subs. That's kind of my area. Like I want to see maybe 125 to 150 by the second anniversary of this channel, like when I start uploading videos, but we'll see in regards. It's not finalized yet, but we'll see in that regard. So if you help with the benefit, great appreciate it. I'll do some support stuff. Maybe do something for like 100 sub specialists, but I'll figure something out. So bear with me in that regards. But as well, Keeks, let me know what your thoughts on everything that was discussed this week down below in the comments, of like your thoughts about the new releases, your thoughts on the trailers, and your opinions about the few news stories we have for this week. And if you have anything you want to share, like a special segment piece or anything like that you want to be shown off, then let me know in the comments or just let me know on my socials. I'll gladly do something like that. But anyways, I think I should leave it there for now. So as always, you all stay being wonderful people and have a great day every day, doing many great things, and keep being you because no one else can do what you do. Now, I've been your host, Sam, as per usual, and I shall see you all in the next episode. So take care, keep being awesome, and I'll see you all later. Thanks for watching.